Did Iran just flip its nuclear script? Iran and Russia signed a massive nuclear deal, and it's not just about energy. It's a defiant move forged through sanctions, sharpened by airstrikes, and aimed directly at the old world order. By 2040, Iran wants 20 gigawatts of nuclear power. That's 10 times what it produces now. Russia is the enabler. Again, it helped finish Bushehr. Now it's back to help Iran go bigger, faster, and deeper into the nuclear infrastructure. But here's the twist. This is not just civilian energy. It's geopolitical chess. This is the story of how this alliance can reshape the region or one global order, one reactor at a time. On September 22nd, Iran's nuclear chief and vice president Mohammad Islami landed in Moscow. A deal to build 8 new nuclear reactors across Iran, 4 at Bushehr and 4 at the new sites, was announced by Iranian and Russian media agencies. The agreement was first announced back in 2014, but it has remained largely at the level of framework agreements and preliminary contracts for more than a decade. But this new deal comes after a summer of volatility and fire. In June 2025, the US and Israel launched strikes on Iranian nuclear sites, targeting enrichment centers and air defenses. Iran responded with a missile strike on a US base, not enough to start a war, but enough to prove a point. Complicating matters, in 2025, the reimposition of UN sanctions on Iran, triggered by Britain, France, and Germany, invoking the snapback provision of JCPOA, exposed deep global fractures. On the other hand, Russia, China, and Iran argue that the sanctions are illegal, pointing out that the West's failure to uphold its side of the deal after the US withdrawal. Now, inside Iran, the narrative is changing. Calls for pursuing nuclear weapons capability are increasing, a stark departure from decades of insistence on peaceful intentions. Over 70 parliamentarians demand a shift in Iran's defense doctrine to embrace nuclear deterrence. So, what's in it for Russia? Simple: influence, economy, and leverage. While the West isolates both Moscow and Tehran, Russia is building partnerships that sidestep the US control. Through nuclear cooperation, it becomes indispensable to Iran's energy and potentially strategic future. It's also a signal to countries across the global south, and that's how this deal becomes more than a contract. It's a strategic alignment. Iran's leadership threatens strategic surprises, raising the stakes and uncertainty for the region and beyond. Meanwhile, Middle East's security map is redrawing itself. Saudi Arabia signed a mutual defense pact with nuclear-armed Pakistan, signaling a move away from reliance on the United States for security guarantees. This pact combines financial might and military strength to counterbalance Iran's growing influence. As long-standing alliances fracture, new ones rise, revealing a multipolar Middle East with no single power able to control the outcome. The Iran-Russia nuclear agreement represents far more than a bilateral energy partnership. It marks a pivotal shift in the global order where military strikes, economic sanctions, and collapsing diplomacy are converging with unpredictable consequences. The breakdown of a unified international strategy towards Iran's nuclear ambitions has set off a chain reaction, driving the region towards increased volatility and strategic fragmentation. And this isn't just a reaction, it's a transformation. Absent, although, is a new diplomatic architecture that reflects these emerging realities. The Middle East faces the growing risk of spiraling tensions, accelerated arms competition, and conflicts that may unfold with little warning. Israel is escalating surveillance and cyber efforts, and the US is scrambling to hold together a crumbling deterrent structure. This is not the bipolar Cold War, it's a multipolar, nuclear-curious Middle East, and no single power is in charge. In a world reshaped by defiance and shifting alliances, understanding this dynamic is critical. The era of easy solutions to nuclear challenges in Iran is over. The next chapter will be written in power plays, unexpected partnerships, and new rules of engagement.